What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog, back in Historic with a kind of a fun, janky little Sultai list. Something I was working on before rotation, and now that we got the Zendikar Rising, I've had a couple new cards, but it's mostly pretty similar to what I was already working with. So this one we're trying to play around with Hapatra and that kind of -1 counter synergy we got with Amonkhet Remastered. And Hapatra is pretty sweet here. Just a reminder what she does here. She's a 2-mana 2/2 for black and green. Whenever she deals combat damage to a player, we may put a -1 counter on target creature. So any creature, you can choose herself, you can choose one of your own creatures. Doesn't matter. Anytime you put one or more -1 counters on a creature, you get a 1/1 snake with Death Touch. So you don't get a... if you put 5 -1 counters on something, you don't get 5 snake tokens. You get one single snake token just for that instance of counters being put on a creature. Whereas Nest of Scarabs works a little bit differently. It's a 3-mana enchantment. Whenever you put one or more -1 counters, you create that many 1/1 black insect creature tokens. So if you do put 3, 4, 5 counters somehow on something, then you get 3, 4, 5 tokens. So she's a little bit, this is a little bit better than Hapatra in that regard. Obviously Hapatra makes Death Touch tokens, so that's probably why she's a little bit more kept in check. Nest of Scarabs kind of let you go a little bit wide. And a couple of the ways we're trying to abuse that, obviously the kind of -1 synergies are pretty heavily concentrated into the 3-drops. It seems like, with Baleful Ammit, Defiant Greatmaw, and Obelisk Spider being some of the better payoffs here, especially for putting multiple counters on things. Defiant Greatmaw is a 3-mana 4/5. However, when enters, we put 2 -1 counters on target creature you control, and whenever we put -1 counters on the Greatmaw, so if we have this enter and put the counters on itself, we get to remove a -1 counter from another target creature you control. So it is just the 1 counter, which is still pretty decent. Obviously, the Baleful Ammit just puts 1 counter on something, so it probably can put it on itself. Otherwise, if you put it on like a token, then you can just have it as a 3-mana 4/3 lifelinker, which is pretty valuable, and you're still putting counters on tokens, so you're still going to get your Hapatra trigger and your Nest of Scarabs trigger, which is pretty sweet. And the Obelisk Spider is a 3-mana 1/4 with reach, and whenever it deals damage to a creature, you put a -1 counter on that creature. That's pretty solid. And whenever you put 1 or more -1 counters on a creature, each opponent loses 1 and you gain 1. So it's the same thing with Hapatra, just putting -1 counters, you just get the one trigger. We also have Assassin's Trophy for a little bit of interaction, and Hagra Mauling as a land. That also gives us some removal as well. Obviously, we are pretty heavily concentrated in 3-drop. We have a couple 4-drops here in addition to the Hagra Mauling, but it's not the type of list that you want to flood out. It's not very mana intensive, so we try to... So Hagra Mauling kind of lets us play a little bit fewer natural lands, so we don't kind of gives us some flood protection, but also some removal at the same time. Obviously, 4 mana is a little bit expensive, but still it's a pretty reasonable card. We're not really too... there's not really any other 4-drops that we're worried about. This can be competing with anyway. Exemplar of Strength is a way to put 3 -1 counters on a single creature, and so this will basically be a 2-mana 1/1 on turn 2, and then when it attacks, you get to remove a 1/1 counter on it and gain a life. So effectively, if it's a 2/2 with kind of some upside and a little bit of life gain here as well. Kitesail Freebooter kind of gives us some main deck interaction for play around like removal or Planeswalkers, as we get to look at our opponent's hand and choose a non-creature, non-land card from it and exile that card under the Freebooter. And just a 1/2 flyer is pretty reasonable. Festering Mummy is kind of our last, next to last payoff for -1 counters. It's a 1-mana 1/1. When it dies, we can put a -1 counter on target creature. So there's definitely situations where your opponent is running like a 1 toughness creature, or even something bigger, and you can't get through. There's no reason to attack with your zombie, so you can just have one of your other creatures come down and put the counters on the mummy just to kill it and start getting your triggers and put the counter on your opponent's creature to make it a little bit smaller. We do have Ifnir Deadlands, which is kind of what is our last way to put -1 counters on creatures. We have to sacrifice a desert. Deadlands is our only desert, so we'll have to sacrifice it, and we get to put 2 -1 counters on target creature and opponent controls. Nice thing about this is it does not come in tapped. It comes in untapped. We can pay colorless, or we can pay 1 life to add black. So we don't really care too much about the life loss, especially if it's just a 1 of. It's not going to be too impactful to us. And obviously we have the Exemplar of Strength and the Baleful Ammit to kind of gain us some life as well. So we're not really too worried about that. But yeah, just having a land that kind of give us those -1 trigger triggers is pretty sweet. All right, so our last little bit of spice here is Tetsuko Umezawa, Fugitive. 2 mana, 1/3, and creatures you control power 1 with power or toughness 1 or less can't be blocked. So all those snake tokens with Hapatra, all those Nest of Scarab insect tokens are just 1/1s. Well, if you can kind of go wide and get a bunch of those out, well, they can't be blocked with if you have a Tetsuko. So that's why we're running 3 copies. Obviously, doesn't work great in multiples because she is a legendary, but we do want to see her pretty frequently. So we are just doing the light splash of blue just for her. And we also have 2 copies here of the Collected Company. That's all I have. And I feel like we don't need to be necessarily too heavily invested into Collected Company. I guess you could try to squeeze in a couple more copies if you have them. But yeah, otherwise, since we are pretty heavily invested in 3 drops, kind of lets us kind of cheat on those a little bit, and even like Hapatra or Tetsuko and things like that. But yeah, instant speed, we'll look at the top 6 cards of a library and put 2 creatures with mana cost 3 or less from them onto the battlefield. Since we're not running any 4 drops besides Collected Company or the Hagra Mauling removal, obviously we have the Nest of Scarabs, which is an enchantment, which doesn't work with it. But pretty much everything else, except for the Assassin's Trophy, you'll be able to hit with this. So we have a pretty high rate of being able to hit creatures with it, especially 6 cards deep. Mana base here, we have the Defiant Deadlands, which we are running over. We have 2 Clearwater Pathways, since we are splashing the blue, but we do have, obviously, want to play black on turn 1 and 2 pretty consistently. And then we have the Watery Grave, Overgrown Tomb, Woodland Cemetery, Breeding Pool, and the all 4 of the Triome. Just having as much fixing as possible is great, and like I said, we're not really too mana hungry, so we can definitely cycle this away in the late game. And we're pretty heavily concentrated into black and green, so the blue is just a splash. That's why just the 3 Breeding Pools, the 3 Watery Grave. Okay, it's Pixu 1980. Double Collected Company is a little awkward in the opening hand, but we do have 2 lands on the draw, so we'll give it a try. Alright, another 3-drop note we want to see, but so we get the Exemplar down, a little bigger body. Always have a Mummy next turn if nothing else. Eventually we have to draw some lands. Okay, our opponent with like a weird multicolored list. Gonna drop the Greatmaw, I guess. Attack with a 3/3. So now they can't even don't even have good blocks, and the Greatmaw can block their Trap Finder. So that land was pretty clutch. Now we'll just drop our Ammit. Opponent going wide here with our party. Obviously, have our work cut out for us. We do have the Collected Companies, which should give us a decent advantage. Opponent getting in there. Let's kill the Mummy here to get rid of the Trap Finder. Attack with our 4/4. And double block and lose both their creatures. It's fine by me. Not sure why you want to do that in a party deck. 2 cards in hand and not playing anything. Well, we'll drop the Obelisk. Okay. No idea what our opponent is holding here. Ardent Electromancer. As their mana base is screwing them up so they can't actually play their cards. Okay. We'll take it. Obviously, Plenty of options here. Probably would want to just get the spider down and just go for incremental -1 counter value to kind of help ping away, especially if they are able to find more party creatures to kind of stonewall us a little bit. Obviously, we had good attacks here with having the 2 toughness. We could attack them with both creatures. Even if they trade, we're okay with that. And then obviously the lifelink here is pretty huge, unless they have some kind of a board wipe or are able to kind of have their own collected company or some other thing. But when they're running, well, I guess, yeah, they do have a lot of 2 and 3 drops, so I guess they could be. Probably reasonable. Alright, against Calder. Hand seems pretty reasonable. The Mummy into Hapatra. And then a Greatmaw on curve, and a Collected Company also to help us kind of go off here a little bit. Mono blue. Wall of Ruins shuts down our attack here. Should have shocked him. Oh, we're not. Yeah, we missing the right mana here. That's alright. Don't think we win this matchup anyway. 4 lands here. We can hold on to Hagra Mauling as removal. I'll just try to get this Greatmaw down. I guess we'll just put it on the Mummy, have a 4/5. And yeah, let's play the Overgrown Tomb. Alright, force our opponent to block. Just because. Jace's Protection. That can grow pretty big. I mean, pretty easy attacks here. Well, let's just swing all. We have the Hagra Mauling, so if they try to kill our Hapatra, we can just kill their Jace's Protection. But they probably just go for the Wall of Ruins. Yeah. Maybe we'll just hold up Mauling here. And kill that Jace's Protection at any time. Oh wait, we did that. Is there a way to target? Huh. So if we kill the Jace's Projection in response to them casting it, they can just choose the Wall of Runes to copy. So I guess there's not really a way for us to kind of kill it in response. Just put it on the Exemplar, I guess. I want our snake tokens. And again, I think we just swing all here. Well, we're slowly getting there. Okay, my dude. Mirror image. Keep Exemplar and Hapatra back and swing with everything else, since they don't really have good blocks. Yeah, I'm not attacking with Exemplar, you don't have to keep looking at it. Obviously they want to keep their projections alive, it looks like. Opponent down to 2. The Collected Company is probably going to be good enough here on their end step to close out this game. Especially like a Tetsuko or something, make all these snake tokens unblockable. But mono blue and historic could have River's Rebuke or something to that effect. Well, that's pretty annoying. Let's go and fire this off, see if we find something reasonable here. We'll just go for these two. Tetsuko is tempting, but with everything tapped down and not untapping, then I think we just need to go for these guys. And we got the snake token here we can block. Could have blocked, probably should have blocked with the spider on the other one, but yeah, opponent's just dead. Collect the company there. That's why it's in there for stuff like that. Sweet. All right, against Grumpy Monk. Seems pretty keepable with the Obelisk Spider and a couple lands. We'll just lead on Triome for now. So we'll get these exemplars down, or the one of them. Gives us a threat to start beating in with, and we'll get the Obelisk Spiders probably. Okay, is it? Hapatra's pretty good too here. We Dragonauts. Well, that's pretty cool. Let's go Spider number 2. It's pretty sweet. So we get a 3/3 Exemplar they can't really block with. They can block the Spider, but then we got to put a -1 counter on their Dragonauts because it's going to be dealing 1 point of damage. Oh, Erratic Cyclops. Spicy. Alright, there's another land. That's Hapatra. And yeah, no reason not to attack. They can't really do anything with the Cyclops, with them being tapped out. You have the easy blocks, but find some removal for this trample Cyclops, especially if everybody start getting some value off of it. Plenty of cards in hand. Command the Storm. Wow. I think we take this block. Just to get some counters going. Try to get this Cyclops down a little bit more to size and get a bunch of triggers. Tetsuko says hello. Do we just attack here, or do we care about those Dragonauts? It can also get big enough to kill our spiders, so I think we just let's keep the snake back to maybe disincentivize them from attacking in. And yeah, we'll keep putting counters on their big dude. Let's Mummy and Exemplar, and then we can drop Tetsuko as our knockout blow. Put on the Festering Mummy, keep our 4/4 round. Probably could have killed the Dragonauts, but they can do some pretty nasty things with the... Oh no, Obelisk Spider says we just win. Sweet. Too many triggers there, man. Something like that. Hero, that's pretty spicy. A lot of shock lands here. Do have the Ammit to kind of make up for that. Probably keep the Mauling as removal since we already have 3 other lands. We'll probably draw into another land here at some point. Probably worth playing on curve. Could get punished for it though. I mean, against Kahira, I have to see what we're up against though. If they're more on the cats or the beasts. Scrag. Not sure what to make of that just yet. Boros, maybe Naya. Okay. Chandra's Magmat. Let's play Hapatra and try to get some triggers next turn. See, no attack. See if our opponent attacks into us. Could just have a shock or something for it. But then if they're using shock on that, then they're not using it on Hapatra. Chandra's Magma number 2. Really? It will absolutely block. Nope. You sure? Ooh, Tetsuko. I think a 4/4 is pretty good. So I think we'll put the counters here. And I guess we'll put a counter there. Take that action. Just play the Watery Grave, I think. We'll just go for Spider and try to get some value off of that. Especially we'll might want the lifelink. Banishing Light, how could you? Oh, on the 4/4. Keeping our Hapatra around. We'll take that. Pathway. So then we go for the Spider here. Obviously we already have our blue source, so this can come down as a black mana source. And I think we attack with 1. Try to pressure their life total a little bit. Just kind of get that process going. In case this ends up being kind of a race situation, especially when they do have these magmuts that can kind of ping away at us. Also we have life gain with Ammit. Coming down, another land, we can Ammit plus Tetsuko. Lithoform engine, that's spicy. So probably want to get a trophy here at some point, but I'm not really sure how they're going to be getting value off of it. I guess we just put it on the Ammit, although we're a little bit vulnerable. And I think we want to play this Triome out. We have lifelink, so we'll go ahead and swing, be a little more aggressive. We have 1 token back plus the Ammit. And if we have to, we have a Hapatra. So pretty annoying here with those magmuts just kind of pinging away life total. We're still at 12 though, so we're okay. And it is Naya. So that makes more sense. They can put it in their hand, but then they only have 2 mana left, so they can't actually cast it. Tetsuko number 2. We'll go and drop 1. And we do need to gain life, so I think we're going to just go for the Ammit here. And just leave 1 snake back, just have something back on defense. We don't have any more ways to trigger our Hapatra in hand, so we'll leave 1 snake back, or try to. And obviously we need the swing in with the Ammit to gain life before they have removal for it, and before they just ping us to death. And they have a Kahira coming down next turn. You're playing Lithoform Engine just to copy Chandra's Magma. That seems like really expensive. But okay, you do you, dude. Territorial Scythecat. Huh. I feel like there could be something here, like a Kahira landfall. Naya landfall with Kahira. Not really sure why we're in Historic. These are all standard legal cards. Well, Tetsuko says we can get through unabated. Alright, well let's Tetsuko. We'll go for attacks here. See how they block. Probably looking to kill this Kahira. They do nothing. We're going to gain 3, go up to 15. I could have blocked the Ammit. Could play Tetsuko, just have a blocker, but... okay, ping us for 2 more. So you're looking to kill this Kahira. Should probably do that before combat. Let's take out Kahira so they don't get that vigilance value. Now they're tapped out. They can't have any protection spells, but they got 2 Hero of the Prides. Cool. Tetsuko says you're dead, my dude. Attack. It doesn't matter. You're just dead here. Nest of Scarabs. Oh, came in a little bit late to the party. Swing in. Unblockable. 5 damage. Oh yeah, Tetsuko. Getting it done. Alright. It was pretty reasonable showing for the deck right there. Obviously a little bit shorter, but hey. Playing some Jank here. Got some nice games in. Got a pretty good feel for what this deck is trying to do. Obviously the Tetsuko with the Hapatra or Nest of Scarab tokens is pretty sweet. And then just trying to kind of maximize the things that can kind of put multiple counters on things like Greatmaw and Exemplar of Strength in particular. And then the Mummy, it's a pretty sweet card to kind of play around with. You kind of put the counter on that to put counters on your opponents. Creatures is pretty fun to do. Kitesail Freebooter is kind of a nice spicy addition here as well as a 1-power creature which works with Tetsuko. Also kind of getting some removal and things like that out of your opponent's hand. Trophy, just kind of some catch-all removal since we're obviously running a lot of 3-drops already. We don't have room for Maelstrom Pulse, so I think Trophy just kind of fits that removal slot. And then just a 2 of Collected Company. Like I said, it's all I had, but I feel like it's pretty reasonable to just run 2 copies anyway. Nest of Scarabs is pretty sweet. We can play this on curve, but I think 4 is kind of overkill. Because obviously you still need your creatures to actually get to trigger your Nest of Scarabs, and if you're just drawing a bunch of Nest of Scarabs, then you're not really doing too much with it. And I can even see going down to like 2 maybe, but I think with 3 copies you want to try to get to this pretty consistently, just that at least one copy here, and try to get some insect tokens going, and then find our Tetsuko and just kind of swing in with over a couple turns with a bunch of tokens, and just try to kill your opponent with unblockable damage. And then the Ammit helps out with the lifelink here as well, even though it just gets the single -1 counter trigger. The lifelink is still super helpful. And then Hagra Mauling is a nice new addition here from Zendikar to give us some removal and a land at the same time, since we definitely don't want to flood out here, but we do need to get to like 3 and 4 mana on curve as much as possible. But otherwise, yeah, feel pretty good about this list. Obviously, it is pretty janky. I don't think we really want to try to play this competitive in a best of 3 environment, because the -1 counter synergy just isn't very competitive. But it is super fun, at least in my opinion. And if you feel the same way, maybe you can give something like this a try. It's fairly budget friendly. Hapatra is a rare trophy. Just 2 copies is a rare. You can just kind of run whatever spot removal here you want, I guess. Tetsuko is an uncommon. So yeah, just two companies. The Hagra Mauling, which you should probably have a playset of in your collection as well, because it's a really sweet card. But even 2 or 3 copies is pretty solid. But otherwise, yeah, just mostly uncommons here. Hapatra is pretty cool. Obviously, it is a rare, so it can be a little bit hard on the wild card, since she is very jank, but she's pretty sweet brawl commander too. If you're able to play historic brawl with your friends or the occasional event. But otherwise, yeah, everything else is pretty much uncommon. Obviously, the lands, but you do need to kind of craft these eventually, because these are super important to be able to play your decks on curve. But if you don't have these, you can obviously substitute some of these as well. You definitely need these shock lands. Try to get some of these pathways here as well. Deadlands just an uncommon, so that's super sweet. And the Triomes, though, are definitely very important to kind of play these if you're into Sultai colors in any way, shape, or form. So you might need to run more basics and field passages if you don't necessarily have all these lands. But yeah, otherwise it's a pretty budget-friendly deck. So thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, make sure you jank with